What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to recap the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. And I also want to talk about how our Atlanta Falcons can improve and how they can be a playoff team in 2022. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning into the channel, sharing out my content on all the social media platforms. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. If you would like to donate to my channel, you can donate to my Cash App, which is the $ Jew Talk Sports. If you would like to be a part of my new Jew Talk Sports membership, which is $2.99 or $4.99. All you have to do is press the join button on my YouTube channel if you would like to be a part of my membership. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So like I stated, in today's video, I do want to recap the wild card round of the playoffs. If you looked at my community tab on Friday night, I did drop my predictions for this weekend's games. And I went 4-1 in my predictions. The only game that I was wrong about in my predictions was the Patriots beating the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills actually blew the Patriots out at home. But the other games that were in the wild card round, I did predict right. So I did do pretty good by going 4-1 in my predictions. But stay tuned because I will drop on my community tab at some point this week as well, probably on Friday, my predictions for who will win in the divisional round of the playoffs. And I'll do it all the way up through the Super Bowl, giving you guys Jew's predictions or my predictions. But with that being said, I digress. I do want to jump right into talking about these games and how the Atlanta Falcons can improve and make the playoffs on next year. The first thing that I took from all of the games that I watched on Saturday, Sunday, and then last night, number one for our Atlanta Falcons to improve and be a playoff team in 2022, and I always talk about it, is the trenches. The first thing we're going to talk about is the defensive line. If you look at the teams that won every single playoff game, they were able to affect the pocket. They were able to rush with 4 guys, with their front 4. Most of the teams that you watched over the weekend that won these playoff games in the wild card round, the 49ers, the Bengals, all of these teams, the LA Rams last night, all of these teams that won are able to get pressure with their front 4, with their defensive line without bringing pressure. And we've seen that over the weekend, and that's something that our Falcons have to improve upon. We have to bring in this draft, we have to go out and bring in better defensive linemen. Even in free agency, if we're able to bring in a marquee pass rusher, or even trade and bring in a marquee pass rusher, it's going to be very important for our Atlanta Falcons to continue to improve in the trenches, but especially on the defensive line. Our defensive line was the worst defensive line in the league this year. We only had 18 total sacks on the season, which is embarrassing because TJ Watt, who plays for the Steelers, who led the league in sacks, had 22.5 sacks by himself. And our whole team only was able to muster up 18 sacks as a team, which is a disgrace. We have to improve in the trenches on the defensive line this offseason if we want to be a playoff team, if you want to contend for a Super Bowl. And that's one thing that really stood out to me on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And that's the reason I predicted the games the way that I predicted them. You guys know that I'm big on defensive line play and offensive line play, big on the trenches. And if you look at the teams that win consistently, if you look at the teams that won over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all of the teams that I mentioned that won were able to get pressure on the quarterback without compromising their back end, meaning they were able to drop the linebackers, drop their linebackers in coverage. They were able to drop, guys in their secondary, and they were able to just rush their front 4. The 49ers was able to get pressure on Dak Prescott pretty much the whole game with just rushing their front 4. And that was the reason that the 49ers won that game and controlled the tempo of the game and was able to control the game. Number 2 for our Atlanta Falcons And another thing that I noticed in this playoff wildcard round, number 2 for our Falcons, if they want to be a playoff team next year to improve, it's going to be running the football. And this goes hand in hand with the offensive line. When I talked about the trenches, the offensive line has to play better this coming season, and you have to be able to run the ball. If you look at the 49ers, if you looked at the LA Rams last night with Cam Akers, they were able to run the football successfully. All of the teams that were able to win over the weekend were able to stay balanced. They didn't have to throw the ball 50 plus times to win the game. They were able to control the line of scrimmage. They were able to control the time of possession. And that's something that our Atlanta Falcons have to do better heading into 2022. If we want to be a playoff team next year, if we want to contend for a Super Bowl, you have to have a team that can run the ball and that can play strong defense and get pressure with the front four. We always talk about it. You hear the football analysts talk about it and former NFL players talk about it. NFL head coaches talk about it. In December, in January, if you want to win football games in the playoffs, a running game and pass rush and defense, good defense travels. I don't care where you play the football game, whether it's indoors, whether it's outside. If you have a good running game, a solid offensive line, and a good defensive line and a good defense, that's what travels and that's what wins when you get into the playoffs. And the good football teams are able to run the football in the trenches. They're able to push and move another man against his will, which is what the game of football is all about, is being able to manipulate and move a guy against his will. And that's what you've seen on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in these games. And that's what the Atlanta Falcons are going to have to do in this draft. We're going to have to bring in more running backs. We can't just rely on Cordell Patterson. Mike Davis was a disappointment this past season. So we're definitely going to have to bring in more players in the trenches on the offensive line. The offensive line play has to improve in 2022. And that running game has to be more potent. The teams that were able to run the ball for over 100 yards are usually the teams that are able to win the game. And that's what we've seen. Teams that are able to stay balanced and control time of possession were the teams that won in this wild card round. Number 3, if the Falcons want to be a playoff team in 2022, and another thing that I took from these wild card games that I watched was coaching. Coaching matters. We always talk about coaching as being important. We've seen in that Dallas game, especially in that 49ers game, both of the coaches were making huge mistakes. Kyle Shanahan, with a huge lead, with a 2-possession lead, was still throwing the football, still calling passing plays for Jimmy Garoppolo, which allowed the Cowboys to get back into the game. We've seen on the Dallas Cowboys end, with 14 seconds left in the game, you're running a quarterback draw and allowing time to run out before you can snap the ball and spike the ball to try to get a shot at the end zone. Those are all coaching errors. We've seen the Dallas Cowboys, 14 penalties in that playoff game against the 49ers. Undisciplined football is based off of head coaching. When you see a team that's not playing disciplined football, that goes back to coaching. Yes, some of it is on the players for not using their technique and playing sloppy. But on the other end, when it comes to time management, clock management, and technique and things of that nature, a lot of the times that comes down to coaching. So we've seen over the weekend as well in those wild card games, the teams that had good coaching, competent coaching, were the teams that won the game. Good news throughout the 2021 season. This past season, our Atlanta Falcons went 7-2 in one-possession games. So that tells me that our coaching understands time and possession. They understand possessing the football, but our Atlanta Falcons still have to be better at possessing the football and being better in certain situations. We did see a couple times last year with Arthur Smith on short yardage downs, not running quarterback sneak when you're on the goal line. A couple times we needed a few yards to get a first down, like 1 or 2 yards. And we seen us passing the ball. We seen us in shotgun formations instead of being a heavy personnel where you have more offensive linemen on the field. And a lot of the times the Falcons stalled in the red zone a couple times this past season due to poor play calling by Arthur Smith and due to poor execution by the players. So that's something that's definitely going to have to improve in 2022 is coaching. Coaching matters. And pretty much those were the 3 things that really stood out to me in these wild card games. The teams that were able to get pressure with their front four without compromising the back end were the teams that won. 2, being able to run the football and stay balanced and control time of possession was another thing that I noticed. And 3, coaching, understanding situational football was another thing that I noticed in this game or in these games over the weekend. So those are 3 things that our Atlanta Falcons have to improve upon heading into next season. Those are 3 things that I noticed out of these playoff teams. The playoff teams that did the 3 things that I just mentioned well were the teams that won these games in the wild card round. I'm looking forward to the divisional round. I have a lot more coming for you guys. So you guys definitely stay tuned to the channel. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy my content. I have a lot more content coming for you guys. I also will be starting What's the Word Dirty Bird Season 2, which I'll start next week. It will start next week on Wednesday. So stay tuned to my channel. Next week, Wednesday, I will be starting What's the Word Dirty Bird. I'll be going live. And I will have it posted on my community tab as well. So you guys can definitely tell your friends and family about it, and definitely join me next Wednesday night so we can talk some Falcons football. I'll definitely, like I said, have it on my community tab for you guys. But with that being said, this be your boy Jew. If you have a comment or a question, definitely drop it in my comment box. I definitely would love to drop some content on a question that you may have. But I am now looking into scouting for the draft. So I will be dropping a lot of videos on players I think the Falcons should go after in the draft as well. So you guys should stay tuned. But with that being said, this be your boy Jew. I have a lot more coming for you guys. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.